There's a painful truth most people learn too late. Relationships rarely end the day someone walks away. They end in silence first, in distance, in hesitation, in emotional withdrawal so subtle that you keep convincing yourself everything is fine, even while your intuition quietly warns you otherwise. And that's what destroys people emotionally. Not the breakup itself, the shock, the realization that the signs were always there, but they ignored them because they loved too deeply, trusted too blindly, or feared the truth too much. The Stoics understood something most people still struggle to accept. Attachment often blinds judgment. When emotions take control, people stop observing reality. They start clinging to potential, to memories, to hope. But calm awareness changes everything. Because when you learn to recognize the signs early, you stop being blindsided by human nature. You stop begging for clarity from people who are already emotionally halfway gone. And most importantly, you protect your dignity before desperation destroys it. And here's what makes this dangerous. Most people notice these signs too late because emotions distort reality. But one of these signs is far more revealing than the others. In fact, the final sign is usually the moment the relationship is already emotionally over, even if nobody has admitted it yet. So stay with me carefully, because understanding these behaviors early can save you months, sometimes years of emotional damage. So if someone in your life has started changing in ways you can't explain, pay close attention, because these 8 signs often appear before someone leaves for good. And the final one is the sign most people ignore until it's too late. One, their mood changes around you without explanation. One day they're warm, attentive, affectionate. The next day they feel cold, irritated, distant. And what makes it confusing is the inconsistency. You keep thinking maybe they're stressed, maybe something happened, maybe I'm overthinking, but deep down your spirit feels the shift. A person emotionally invested in you does not constantly make you feel emotionally unsafe. Yes, everyone has difficult days. But when someone begins detaching emotionally, their energy changes before their words do. And this is where many people make a tragic mistake. They chase harder. They become more available, more accommodating, more desperate for reassurance. But the Stoics warned against surrendering your emotional stability to another person's unpredictability. Because once your peace depends on their mood, you've already lost your center. A calm person observes patterns without immediately reacting to them, and patterns never lie for long. 2. Communication slowly begins to die. At first, it's subtle. The good morning texts disappear. The random check-ins stop. The long conversations become short and lifeless. Suddenly, everything feels rushed. Replies become delayed. Phone calls feel forced. Conversations sound empty. And when you bring it up, they say, "I'm just busy." But people are rarely too busy for what emotionally matters to them. The truth is painful. Communication is often the first thing to fade when emotional investment begins fading too, because distance is rarely created overnight. It is built slowly through reduced presence. And what hurts most is that you start feeling lonely while still technically being in the relationship. The Stoic mind understands this. Attention reveals priority. When someone consistently stops making space for you in their daily life, believe the behavior instead of clinging to excuses. 3. They stop including you in their future. This sign is one of the clearest, yet people ignore it constantly. Mention a future trip, a long-term plan, an upcoming event, and suddenly they become vague, uncertain, uncomfortable, because somewhere internally they've already stopped imagining you beside them. People reveal their emotional direction long before they officially leave. The problem is that love often makes people hear promises instead of noticing hesitation. But a Stoic pays attention to what is avoided. Silence speaks loudly. When someone no longer naturally includes you in their vision of tomorrow, it usually means they are emotionally disconnecting from today. And no amount of forcing conversations about commitment can rebuild genuine desire. The future cannot be begged into existence. 4 small things about you suddenly irritate them. Your laugh, your habits, your personality. Things they once found charming suddenly become annoying. And this creates emotional confusion because you start questioning yourself. You begin shrinking parts of your personality just to avoid conflict. But understand this carefully. When someone begins emotionally withdrawing, irritation often increases because guilt creates internal frustration. Instead of admitting they've changed, they unconsciously project negativity onto you. This is why emotionally detached people often become overly critical. Not because you suddenly became unbearable, but because distance changes perception. And if you're not careful, you'll spend months trying to fix yourself for someone who already emotionally checked out. The Stoics warned against tying your self-worth to unstable external opinions. Someone else's emotional inconsistency is not proof of your inadequacy. 5. Physical affection starts feeling empty. This is one of the most painful signs because the body often reveals truth before words do. The hugs become shorter. The kisses feel routine. Touch becomes rare. You can feel the emotional absence even when the physical presence still exists. And instinctively, many people panic. They try harder, love harder, give more, cling tighter. But desperation cannot restore genuine affection. In fact, it often pushes the other person even further away. Because emotional attachment driven by fear creates pressure, not connection. A Stoic understands something difficult but necessary. Love must be freely given to remain real. The moment affection feels forced, negotiated, or emotionally mechanical, something deeper is already fading underneath the surface. And pretending not to notice it only delays the inevitable pain. 6. Secrecy and privacy suddenly increase. Now the phone is always turned away. Messages are hidden quickly. Passwords change. Answers become vague. And when you sense something is wrong, they accuse you of overthinking. But intuition becomes dangerous to ignore when behavior changes dramatically. Calm observation matters. The Stoics believed emotional control does not mean blindness. It means seeing reality clearly without becoming consumed by emotion. And reality is this: honest people rarely become defensive over simple transparency. When secrecy grows where openness once existed, something fundamental has shifted. Now, this does not always mean cheating, but it almost always means emotional distance. Because people preparing to leave often begin separating parts of their lives from you long before they physically walk away. Their exit begins mentally first. 7. They start rewriting the relationship to make you the problem. This stage confuses many people because it feels deeply unfair. Suddenly you're too emotional, too sensitive, too demanding, and you begin exhausting yourself trying to explain your intentions, but understand what's happening psychologically. Before many people leave, they unconsciously create a narrative that justifies their exit, because guilt is uncomfortable. So instead of saying, "I changed, I lost feelings, I no longer want this," they slowly frame you as the issue. This helps them escape responsibility emotionally. And the dangerous part is that if you aren't emotionally grounded, you'll start believing it. You'll lose your confidence trying to defend yourself against someone determined to misunderstand you. But Stoicism teaches restraint. Not every accusation deserves a response. Sometimes silence protects your dignity better than endless explanation ever could. Because people committed to misunderstanding you will twist every defense into further evidence against you. 8. Your presence no longer feels valued. This is the final sign, and perhaps the saddest. You start realizing your absence wouldn't really affect them anymore. You could disappear for hours, for days, emotionally or physically, and they barely notice. There's no urgency, no emotional concern, no genuine effort to reconnect. And this realization cuts deeply because human beings want to feel chosen, wanted, valued. But when someone no longer fears losing you, it often means they already detached emotionally long ago. And this is where many people destroy themselves trying to become more lovable. They overgive, over-explain, over-sacrifice. But no amount of self-abandonment can force someone to value what they already decided to emotionally release. The Stoics understood a hard truth. You cannot control another person's attachment. You can only control your response. So if you recognize these signs, do not panic, do not beg, do not humiliate yourself trying to force closeness from someone creating distance. Instead, become still enough to see reality clearly. Because one of the greatest forms of self-respect is accepting what another person's behavior is already telling you. And if they truly choose to leave, let them leave with your dignity still intact. Not because you never cared, but because your peace matters too. And sometimes the strongest thing a person can do is stop chasing people who already started walking away in their mind. Protect your peace, protect your self-respect, and never allow fear of losing someone to make you lose yourself. If you found value, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our videos.